I want to first and foremost say to all of you that have come down here.
All right, now, it's all right. Take your time.
I just want to express to you that it's about doing the right thing.
That's right.
I must share with you all publicly what's going on with me internally. There's a great deal of frustration because there are several folk that I pastor, there are folk that I've met in neighborhoods and walking the streets who I know are good people, love God, hard works, have done and just want a good quality of life. And I know the impact of the decisions that I made, how they could affect them and all of us. And I must share with you that it does hurt when there are pastoral colleagues who say you try to be a one-man show, when they don't know my heart,
Well,
and don't understand and should understand. And all of these pastors that I hear, they know when God speaks to you, you move, you act. And so I was obedient to the Spirit of God, and I don't regret it. I want to say to Pastor David Bullock and the pastors that came all the way from Detroit to be with us today, I want to tell them thank you. Let's put our hands together for them. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Bishop Bernadette Jefferson, I want to say this to you publicly because she and others that have been on this battlefield, they have patiently waited for some of us who are a little slow to catch up. So thank you, Bishop, and thank you, folks with Occupy FLINT and other organizations that are represented here today. God bless you for your sacrifice. I certainly want to thank again all of you for coming to be here and hearing what you have heard today. It is important and significant, and you know that, otherwise you would not be here. And then I want to say a special thanks and appreciation to a lady who, when they took her husband to jail, she was mad at them, but she took it out on me. And I'm still trying to recover. I'm still in the doghouse. But I want to thank my sweet potato pie, this Dolores Flynn. Thank you, honey. Already I know that there are some that are angry with me as I speak because we amended the agenda several times, and if I kept on allowing folks to come who weren't on the agenda, then we would be here for an extended period of time. And so I ask, please don't hold that against me, those who asked to be on the program, and I just decided to move forward. I want to ask for your patience. I feel it necessary to share with you a public response to the comments and to what I call character assassination of me as it pertains to the words of Emergency Manager Michael Brown. But prior to doing that, I want to share with you all, I don't have anything personally against this man. I do, however, want to articulate it and feel it necessary to respond to his public statement regarding my actions here on May 3rd, and I think it's important that you hear this as well. It was my hope that it would be published in the Flint Journal, and I also submitted it to the Courier, the best paper, the CPS Courier we have. What has been passed out to you is a letter that I wrote called A Letter from the Flint City Jail. If you all can just indulge me for a moment so that I might read this letter. It is an open letter to Emergency Manager Michael Brown. Will you allow that?
Yes.
Thank you, because I have the microphone. I'm going to read it anyway. A letter from the Flint City Jail. It begins with a quote from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. If I could have your attention for just a few moments, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust, and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice, is in reality the highest respect for the law. Dear Mr. Michael Brown, while confined to the Flint City Jail on Thursday, May 3rd, 2012, for what you describe as erratic and frightening behavior and making accusations against you and your staff, I thought about the content and the context of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous 1963 essay, A Letter from the Birmingham City Jail. To understand the motives behind my nonviolent protest and civil disobedience action at City Hall on May 3rd, it is important to be familiar with the historic context of Dr. King's arrest. His letter was a response to a statement made by 8 white Alabama clergymen on April the 12th, 1963, titled A Call for Unity. The clergymen agreed that social injustices existed, but argued the battle against legalized racial segregation should be fought solely in the courts, not in the streets or at City Hall. The clergy, city officials, law enforcement, and business leaders all criticized Dr. King for causing trouble in the streets of Birmingham. Dr. King asserted that without nonviolent direct actions, true civil rights could not be achieved. Against the clergyman's assertion that the protests and demonstrations were against the law, he argued that not only was civil disobedience justified in the face of unjust laws, but that one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Mr. Brown, in lieu of the erroneous, exaggerated, and embellished report you made regarding my actions on May 3rd, I can assure you by way of video clip evidence that my alleged verbal tirade was nothing more than a direct, nonviolent, civil disobedient protest against the implementation and execution of Michigan's emergency manager law as practiced in Flint, Michigan. I would venture to say, however, that your tirade of executive decisions have become the veritable embodiment of erratic and frightening behavior. Please allow me to expound. Your decision to propose an additional 25% water rate increase is extreme and adversely impacts low-income residents in the city of Flint. This decision equates to a 105% increase in water rates for Flint residents within the past 18 months. Your decision to increase city services fees and impose regressive taxes on those least able to pay is a sophisticated form of economic violence. Isn't it interesting that the lowest valued properties in our city are in the far northeast and west ends of Flint, where there is the largest number of low-income African-American residents? Isn't that interesting? Your decision to hire executive staff that make decisions regarding our tax bills and service fees, who themselves are not Flint residents and share none of the tax burden, is arrogant and elitist. Your decision to authorize over $30,000 to the Genesee Regional Chamber of Commerce is unethical and a blatant conflict of interest. The organization's president, Mr. Tim Herman, sits on your Emergency Manager Finance Advisory Council. Moreover, your chief administrator, Mr. Dwayne Miller, is employed as the Chamber's Vice President of Core Initiatives. Your decision to hire an additional police chief, reopen the city jail, and solicit more state police officers will not reduce or address the root causes of crime in our city. If public safety is truly the #1 priority, I implore you, consider this. Invest resources. And I really want you all to think about this too, because some of you may not appreciate this, but I do. I pray that you will as too. You will as well. Instead of investing all of these dollars in public safety, consider investing in programs that address the serious needs of African American boys. Studies show crime does not decline when government and prison officials hire more police or build new prisons to warehouse African American boys and males. Finally, your decision to authorize an allocation of over $3 million of neighborhood stabilization plan dollars to a single 4-block area in Flint in the Hurley Stone Street area or neighborhood, the immediate peripheral of downtown. This neighborhood, as captured in the HUD application on the substantial amendment on the city's website, indicates that you have said this is the area of greatest need. However, the current data shows the highest concentration of residential vacancies, commercial building abandonment, and home foreclosures are recorded in the far northeast and west sections of our city. It is reasonable to conclude that your actions are far more erratic, threatening, and frightening to Flint residents than the use of my $50 bullhorn. Mr. Brown, I am not a threat to this community or my neighbors. I love Flint and have returned to make a positive difference. I love God's people regardless of their socioeconomic status so much that I am not afraid to sound the alarm, even with my bullhorn, to confront the power structure when they injure and inflict injustices upon the poor and marginalized residents in our community. The implementation and application of Public Act 4, upon which your powers are defined, has created a climate of political suppression, economic exploitation, and racial domination likened to the days of the Civil Rights era. As I sat in the city jail last week, I contemplated the debilitating regression of our city and state. It's as if Michigan and America have turned back the hands of time. In 2012, citizens, and especially majority populated African American cities across our state, have had their voting rights subverted by the state. In 2012, application of the emergency manager law has removed our basic constitutional protections. In 2012, the expansive use of state power and the rise of the prison industrial complex has spurred the mass incarceration of African American and Hispanic men and boys. It is now profitable to keep jails at maximum capacity. In 2012, excessive police force is still a reality for many African American males. I now can speak from firsthand experience.
We are here today to speak out against Public Act 4, a law that's not fair. He's put upon us increase of tax through the emergency manager that's not fair. There you have people in Flint, some are on Social Security. All the money that they are going to receive for the whole month is less than $1,000. They have to pay rent, they got to pay a water bill, they got to shut off with that. They got to pay consumers, they got to shut off with the consumers. They got to buy medicine. They got to cut the pills in half to take to try to make them last the whole month. We are tired of the law that the governor has placed upon the citizen of the state of Michigan. I'm here today to say to the poor folk who don't have nobody to speak for them that we are tired. If it means that we got to go to Lansing with a number of people, not 2 or 3, I mean the whole city. If we took 50,000 people out of Flint down to Lansing, somebody would pay some attention. We are tired of the way things are going. 200 and some thousand signatures goes down to Lansing, and the Republic guy says, no, they're not fair. That's wrong. So we got to vote these Republicans out of office that's not working in behalf of people, poor people across the whole country. And then my position is this. Start at the top. Start at the top with Governor Snyder. Then move on down the chain of line. We have right here in the city of Flint 5 black councilmen that can't work together. There is no reason for a white gentleman to be the president of the council when you got 5 blacks. They can put them in office. We cannot work together divided. We got to spend ourselves together. We got to know that our brothers behind, we have to reach behind and pull them up also. Another issue that I have is this. When we put all of this tax, water hike, and everything on poor folk, why don't the business people pay their fair share of taxes? Why is it that the airport is not paying their fair share? Where is it that Blackstone and all these places downtown, these businesses, got an abatement that they can wait years to pay taxes? Why don't we, if you're going to change the law on the poor folk, change the law on the rich folk? We're tired. We're tired of things being choked down our throats. And it's time to speak up. In a few weeks, you'll hear another report. We're going to come back united with leaders from all over the city. We're going to have 10,000 people blocking Saginaw Street all down through here because we are speaking out against Public Act 4, and we are planning to let the governor and others know we are tired. And when people get tired, they're ready to go to work and do something. May God bless you today, and may God keep you. We are all together in this. It's like the ship going down. Everybody that's in the ship cannot say, I'm not going to throw no water out because the water don't affect me. But if you're in the ship and the water is coming over in the ship, everybody in the ship is going to go down unless somebody starts throwing water out of the boat. God bless you. God keep you.
You know, on days like this, you wonder what took us so long. You know, after being asked by Pastor Flynn to share a few moments with you on the idea why we must stand, the thought came to me that before we talk about that, we must discuss why did we sit so long. We sat by and allowed our elected officials to get caught up in gridlock. We sat by and never educated ourselves on the nuances of government and funding. We sat by and allowed apathy to run rapid through our community. We sat by and allowed the governor to come in and give us a city, give this city an emergency manager, not for the first time, but the second time. So I guess before we begin to discuss the idea of standing up, we better repent by getting down. Sitting down and watching our education institutions crumble, our young people turn to gangs, drugs, and violence, our elderly turn to locked doors, armor guard, ADT, Sonatrol, and midnight security. Yes, before we stand up, I offer the suggestion that we kneel down and ask ourselves one simple question. How committed are we at ending our denial? We've been in denial, City of Flint. This isn't anything new. We've been in denial. We denied the fact that things were going well. We denied the fact that things were going to change. We denied the fact that nothing was going to change because none of us was down here standing like we are standing today. Let me ask you all just one simple question. Are we ready to allow are we ready to elevate the level of our faith above the level of our anxiety? Why are we afraid, Flint? Why are we afraid to stand up and speak out against that which we deem is wrong? Why? Why? I am ready to accept my portion of the blame for not becoming more active in what happened, what we allowed and what we did not learn. But today I come as a watchman on the wall for the Lord, and it is time for us to stand up. Stand up to the corruption wherever we find it, Democrat, Republican, or independent. Stand up to the oppressive laws and brutality from our government and those that are sworn to serve us. Stand up against the machine known as the prison industrial complex. Stand up against apathy and unconcern by becoming engaged in the change that we desire to see. Are you ready to be engaged? For without you, we will do nothing. We must stand up against the idea that someone has to give us something before we can do anything. Our ancestors taught us better than that. We can take 2 pieces of bread with no meat, call it a wish sandwich, and it will taste better than the finest that somebody could set before us. Let's quit pretending like we need somebody to give us anything. No, we start with what we have and we make do with it. We must let our young people know that it is okay to submit to governmental authority and recognize the laws of the land as long as the authority does not require them to break one of the laws of God. See, we have been bound under a law. The law is that we take care of our widows, and we take care of our orphans, and we take care of the poor, and we take care of the disenfranchised, and we take care of the marginalized, and we take care of the left asides, and Public Act 4 don't do nothing for us. We must be willing to do what we ourselves never get to enjoy. D. Elton Trueblood states it this way: a man has made at least a start on discovering the meaning of human life when he plants a shade tree under which he knows full well he will never sit. How many of you are ready to do something for your kids? How many of you are ready to do something for your kids' kids? How many of you are ready to do something for somebody you don't know? See, it's not about me anymore. It is about our community. For without our community, there is no me. Let me just simply close by saying this. Flint ain't dead. Flint ain't over. Flint is simply waiting on us to speak up, to speak out, to stand up, and to do that which is right so that our children can say that the latter years were greater than the former. I'm tired of looking back to the glory of Generous Motors. I'm tired of looking back to what it used to be like when Genesee Towers was up and going. I want to say that we can have a great Flint, a great future. But here's the thing, y'all. It can't be bound by downtown. See, there's a Flint called the North Side. There's a Flint called the East Side. There's a Flint called the South Side. And unlike some cities, Flint don't got no West Side. So guess what, y'all? We need to make sure that we stand up, that we speak out, that we don't stand still, that we don't go back in the house when this event is over, that we sign up to repeal Public Act 4. God bless you.